Peace and blessings, family, peace and blessings. About witness that there's nothing and none worthy of my worship but Allah, and about witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all with the universal greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I just really wanted to speak real briefly. I hadn't done a live in a minute, and I just really wanted to speak real briefly about this live that I just listened to with Brother Ben X. And it was talking about the millionaire mindset, and it was just one aspect of it, dealing with the inner, right? The inner being, the inner person, that inner part, right? The unseen, right? Dealing with that part and how significant, how important it is when looking at the outer, when looking at what is being manifested, right? And one of the ways, like, to really look at that, or to get a better understanding of that, right, or to use an example, is when we look at the symptoms, right, of whatever is manifesting on the outside, like when we get in the cold, right, or when there's, I wonder why my screen got me looking so red. Is there a way I can change that? I wonder if there's something I done to do that. Or maybe it's just a light causing that. I'm driving too, so maybe that's what it is. It kind of got me looking weird though. Got me looking red and kind of fuzzy, as if I got some type of filter on. Anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but I was trying to figure out what's going on with my appearance here on the screen while I'm looking the way I'm looking. But maybe something happened that I pushed it. It say, oh, okay, I thought that somebody said something. But anyway, let me get into this real quick, because this won't be long. I just really want to emphasize real quickly about just that inner being, man, and how the unseen is so important, and how in this live when we was listening to about the millionaire mindset, how the ideas, the concepts, the principles, the sayings, the programs that we've been given, let's just say in just the aspect of money, you know, how these counterproductive ideas, this program that sits in the subconscious mind, how it plays out in our adulthood into how we interact with money. How no matter, you know, whether we be one that is able, right, or able to just produce, right, you know, or we being one that don't have a drive, or maybe a desire, or have a desire but can't, right, produce in the way that we want to, or if we are able to attain a bunch of money, we got a lot of money flowing through our hands, right, but lack the ability to hold on to it. You know, we can have hundreds of thousands in our hands, right, and find ourselves in a few months back in the rat race. Find ourselves in a few months being challenged with paying bills, you know. And so then when we ask why, this takes us back to what I'm talking about that was discussed in the millionaire mindset, but just in a person, just in a being, these programs, right? What ideals that we may have, and that's something that I know, like with myself, when I think about some of my own personal challenges or difficulties and things, and I may list some things on a conscious level that why these things may be hindering, you know, the process. You know, some of it being something I control, and some of it being something that I can't control. But when I think about it, while some of those things may be a fact, while some of those things may be a factor, there are some things in my program, in my inner person, in my subconscious mind, that I'm not aware of, right? That I'm not conscious of, that's playing a big part into why, not only why maybe I can't hold on in the sense of the money like I should, or maybe why I'm not producing at the level that I want to, right? But even why my world may look the way it looks. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, like, in regards to marriage, relationships, my world maybe with my children, my world maybe with just socially, just whatever. I'm saying whatever is all a part of what that world is, right? Our individual, our personal world. We have to know and understand that all of that is a reflection of that inner person, that inner being. All of it is as a reflect of our ability and inability to manage, to maintain, right? To cultivate our emotional self, our mental self. You know what I'm saying? These things are important. So even with understanding that even my weight, even my health, you know, whether I work out in the way that I want to, I don't. All of that has everything to do. I ain't gonna say everything. I ain't gonna go as far as say everything, but it has a great deal to do with my inner being, and it may be everything. It may be everything because you know when I say my inner being, my mind, right, my emotional self, or how my mind controls or manages my emotional self, because that's really where it's at. How does my mind manage the emotional self, right, or the emotional aspect of who I am? How does my mind deal with that? How does my mind control it? How does my mind analyze that and bring health or balance to my emotional self? Right? What is the program? You know that there's a lot of different ideas and programs or ways that are put out of how to reprogram self. You know, positive affirmations, saying it is already is. You know, but according to the Millionaire Mindset, he teaches that your inner voice, your inner self, right, is going to tell you that when you say something is that ain't, your inner voice saying that's BS. It ain't. So you're going to say, hey, I'm powerful, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, I'm always on time, I'm, what all these things is. But if that's not the reality, in the Millionaire Mindset, he said, it teaches that your inner self is going to, depending on how powerful that voice is, that inner self is going to say, it ain't, that ain't reality, And some of us, I think we have the ability to really exist in fairy tale land. We have like a real strong kid mind, like in the sense of really being able to imagine things are good, right? Now, I don't, I'm from the outside looking in. So I don't really know how powerful that really is, but I've seen people who seem to exist in a real fairy tale mindset and seem to not live out or reflect their reality, right? Now, I know myself. One of the things I would always tell people is that I never look like what I've been through. I don't look like what I'm going through. I don't look like maybe even my present circumstances in reality. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I guess it all depends on who's looking at you. How good their sight really is. Are they real perceptive or not? Or are they just looking at you and judging you by your external features or what your material surroundings is, Or someone who maybe have a real good spiritual eye may say, no, you look just like what you've been through, or you look just like what's going on. I can see that you got a lot weighing on you. I can see that things is not, it's not peaceful, in your environment. So again, that can be, I guess, what I would think to be relative. It just all depends on who's looking at you. But I say all that to say that I do believe, because in the Millionaire Mindset, he say that we need to say, instead of what is, but we need to make declarations about what I'm going to do, what I am going from this day forward, put into practice. And then when we say that, we then have to put it into practice. And this reinforces the declaration. And by reinforcing the declaration, it then begins to command that which we are declaring to become reality, to manifest. You know what I'm saying? Versus us just saying something that ain't here. You know what I'm saying? Or us saying something that we're not acting out. You know what I'm talking about? Because the one thing I can say that may make declaring what is, although it ain't, declaring what is, although it ain't powerful, or makes it work is the fact that a part of that is also you have to say, you have to begin to live like it is. You gotta really live and act as though that is the reality. So to me, I would see the acting as though what you are declaring to be present is actually present is what would manifest or bring into reality what really isn't present, right? But again, man, whatever those two things is, what I'm really still getting at is just really how powerful that unseen thing is. How much of an effect it has on what's seen. My phone about to come out of here. How much of an effect it has on what's being manifested. And when we really want to get a good gauge on our mental and emotional condition, all we really got to do is look at what's being manifested. As the scriptures say, you can tell a man by his works. You can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. So when we complain about a fruit, okay, let's not complain about the fruit. Let's complain more so, or better yet, let's focus our attention on what produced the fruit, right? And it's not just the tree, because as the minister teaches us, or the Honorable Muhammad has taught the minister, is that before what's manifested above the ground, right, or before the tree is manifested, the seed first has to be planted, and then the seed first goes down into the ground. Hold up now. The seed first goes down into the ground, with the roots, right? Goes deep down into the ground before it then shoots up, right? So there's a lot in just that reality, in just science manifesting that wisdom to us, right? In just that, God created reality. There's just so much wisdom in that. So it means that we first got to do the inner work, right? The hidden work. We got to do a lot of inner work. We got to make sure that root is right before the tree or the plant that manifests from that seed. We got to make sure that thing is right before that thing that is manifested from that is what we desire it to be. Is of the health that we desire it to have. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to be an individual. The brother mentioned in the line how we can get reparations. We can get the millions, right? We can get the millions, right? We can get the acres. But how many of us can honestly say we've had a bunch of money? We done had money, hundreds of thousands, maybe tens of thousands, whatever it is, whatever that bunch of money look like for each and every one of us. We've had more money than we've ever had before. Right? We can think of a time where we've had way more money than we've ever had. And then we got to really look at how long did we have that money before we was back in the same condition. Maybe with more material, maybe with more, maybe some experiences that I done went to this island or went to that place to visit. We might have had those things, but we're still in the same reality. Like what our surroundings look really like. Again, it may have more material. We may even have more bills. But the reality is the same. We still gotta work. We still gotta grind. We still going check for check. We still gotta, we still under the demand of paying bills. And when we are under the demand of paying bills, where if I stop working right now, if you stop working right now, if you stop grinding right now, if you stop doing what you need to do to make this money come in, that you're going to start losing some stuff. I don't care if we got hundreds of thousands, if we got millions coming in every month. If that is the reality, that if I stop working right now, I'm finna fall behind this month and next month. That you can't afford to stop working for a year. You can't afford to stop working for a week or 2 weeks or a month. If that's the reality, then we're in survival mode. A lot of people think that just because we make a lot of money, that I'm not in survival mode. But the reality and the truth is that if that is the reality, what I just laid out, if I have to do it, I can't stop doing certain things. If I'm really not in control of my time, I can't just do what I want. If I just, you know what I'm saying? If my reality won't change, if I don't do no work no more for the next 20 years, if I don't want to, and it might not have to be that long, but I'm just saying. And whatever, I can take some years off and my reality don't change, don't lose nothing, don't whatever, right? Money still being brought in, money still coming in. If that ain't my reality, man, I'm not free. You know, I'm not free. I'm still in survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, the God mind is not really activated. You know, the God mind is the creative mind. You know, we're totally surviving off of that inner self, that inner being, that program, man. That program is designed to get us beyond. The program is designed to get us beyond survival mode, the animal mode of living, into our God self, into our God position, into our God mind, where we are ruling and controlling. You know, when we are declaring. You know, the God position is the ruling position. You know, but let me say this too, for clarity. The God position is a ruling position, but the God position is also a serving position. We serve, but when you serve, you're not serving for money. You're not serving because you need payment. You're serving, you know, because people need the value that you produce. So that's the difference. We're not working for money. We're not trading our time, our energy, and whatever for money. But when we operating like that, we're not in God position yet. We might be somewhat there, but not there. You know what I'm saying? It's only when we really get to live a life of not having to do nothing for money, not having to serve for money, not having to trade our time for money. It's only when we get into that kind of position that we're really truly living in our God self, our creative mind, our free mind. But we love to think that, you know, we're not in survival mode. The average person is in survival mode. I don't care what place and level you exist on. If you got bills riding your back and those bills got doggone me stressing you out, you got responsibilities, you got kids, you got to have stuff for and all whatnot, you in survival mode. But anyway, man, I'm not gonna go on in this. I just really wanted to lay out, you know, what was fed to me today. You know, what resonated with me. I want to share my food with you today. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to share my food with you today, you know, because as we go down our timeline, go down the feed, and as we eat on that feed, you know, we got to make sure that that feed is something that is conducive towards our real, true, overall objective with our life, man. Because if it's not, we're gonna constantly feed on that feed, and we're gonna feed on it in an unconscious type of way, not realizing that yet and still, and besides the fact of we feeding on it unconsciously, we're only gonna produce and become that which we feed on. As the scriptures say, you are what you eat, man. And we're not talking always physically. We are what we eat on a mental level first. You know, well, I ain't gonna even say this first. Well, yeah, I'll say on a mental level first, because our minds is what even allow us to eat on certain things. And then I think it said pause or something. But it is that mind that then, which one turns into action, which allows us to eat a certain thing, and it's the action which then becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a part of the character, and it's that character that lays out our future or our destiny. So it is very important, but it all starts here. So being aware of what we feed on is very important. But I'm going to end with that, and I hope that what I shared inspired somebody today to really be more mindful of what we're feeding on. You know, and I'm saying physically feeding on, but more so mentally, because the mental feeding is going to manifest on a spiritual level, which is our energy, the type of energy we carry. And also on a physical level, that physical creating that mental, that spiritual level as well. So anyway, peace and blessing. I pray that all what was said, someone was able to grow and be inspired and motivate, move forward today. Carry that thought from really today and forward, as I pray that I do. And I know that one of the ways that for us to do that is we have to make it practical. We can't just hear it, like it, and try to tell other people about it, but we have to just make it practical in our life by exercising it. But anyway, peace and blessing. Y'all have a blessed one.